Alright, so this is going to be a combined lesson for our Lindy Level 1, Lessons 3 and 4. The reason we're doing it combined is we really did a lot of music theory and kind of workshopping, a lot of dancing with the music in Lesson 3. And we thought this would be a better way to put it all together. So, we are going to start with that music. But first, I guess we should introduce ourselves. My name is Chris Stewart.
Amanda Hanson-Gates.
And you might be wondering why we have our shoes out here. Well, these shoes are going to represent 2 beats of music, 1 and 2, or ba, da.
Or triple step.
Yeah, now of course right now, all these are even, so this is more of like a cha-cha feel. Even, 1 and 2, ba, da. In Lindy, we don't do that. If you heard us earlier, we talked about triple step. That's because the beat happens more, or the and happens closer to the last beat. So now we have bum, ba, da, bum, ba, da. The reason that's important is not only does it match the swing music, how the drummer's drumming or whatever the rhythm section is doing better, but it also allows you a little bit more time to turn, pivot, travel, whatever you're doing after that first step before you put down that ba-dum, your last 2 steps on the triple.
And then also, each of these shoes, if we use it to represent a beat, this shoe is the whole beat, and you can be at the beginning of the beat, which is right when the music hits, or you can be in the middle of the beat, or at the end of the beat. So we talked about how people dance to music, and how that applies to whether you're right on the front of the beat, right in the middle of the beat, or right on the end of the beat, depending on what the song is, what the instrumentation is, and also your personal choice.
Now, we can't show you what this looks like necessarily in music because we're afraid it's going to get pulled down from YouTube because we don't have copyright permission. But hopefully you remember in the class how we danced the same song. We started relaxing, and instead of trying to anticipate when the beat was going to start, instead of being your own metronome and trying to anticipate, we wanted you to relax, listen to the music. We talked about you having 2 partners. There's you, your first partner is your follower, your leader, and the third partner is the music. So always listen to that, try to get there with the beat, hear the beat, then step. Don't rush, unless you're kind of getting to more advanced technique and that foreground instrument happens to be pushing the beat.
And then this also applies to the Lindy 2 class, in that we really talked about being able to even hear something, and because you're dancing slightly behind the beat, you're able to react to that music the split second later. Exactly. And that's a little bit more of an advanced technique.
So we talked about that a lot. We talked about dancing with the music when we did a bunch of our basics. Now, of course, we don't have time to redo everything that we talked about in the basic in class, but we're going to give you a couple of main pointers. The first pointer was, remember, leaders, that you are stepping in front of the follower. You're not both going off to the edge. So we're going to have that nice firm pull, not into our body. 7, 8, bum, ba-dum. For the followers, we really talked about turning into that 3.
So, and we also did talk about swivels a little bit as well. So we talked about stepping out, 1, 2, and using that 3 to make sure that we're rotated and looking over the leader's left shoulder when we pass him, instead of collapsing in right here.
And when we say stepping out, we really mean coming forward when the leader is pulling. We always talked about, we don't step out from our body.
Make sure your feet stay under your body, exactly.
Absolutely.
So my swivels are under my body, and they don't go anywhere until Chris pulls me towards him. Right. Otherwise, it just looks like this.
Alright, so the other thing that we went over was Lindy to close. We'd already, in the previous video, we had done our swing out. 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Swing out from open. 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We did a Lindy to close. 2, 3 and 4. Tight step, trip, pull back. We talked about not stepping back behind for our leaders. We're moving our body. So instead of giving a directional momentum like we have been, we're pivoting mostly in place.
Keeping your shoulder over your hip, over your knee, over your toe.
Right? Step, step, then we shuffle back. For the followers?
And for the followers, it's really important to not to really think about where your feet are here. You really want them to just be under your body. So when he moves you, you're not thinking about getting around. You're just pivoting with your feet under your body wherever he places you.
All right. So, that's how we finished our 3rd class. In the 4th class, we started with kind of taking it back a little bit from the beginning class with a slightly different move and talking about really making sure that as a follower you continue in the direction until the leader stops. When we talk about leaders, making sure that you actually stop the follow. So we started with a side pass like we did in the first class, except we did underarm. 1, 2, look at your watch, triple step. Leaders were not traveling, and neither of us are rushing that turn. From there, we talked about sticking a hand out, going to the follower's shoulder, just like our normal, except with an underarm. 1, 2, catch the shoulder, triple back.
Followers, we talked about getting your arm over his shoulder without hitting him in the face.
Right? That's always good. And leaders, we talked about not bringing our arm in here to try to catch the shoulder, to go look for the outside shoulder, let it slide into the middle shoulder, but to go out and get that follower's shoulder.
And just to illustrate that really slowly without footwork, I'm coming in, he's looking for the shoulder of the hand that he's holding over my head.
And I'm looking to where it's going to be. I'm not coming across my body. I know that it's going to be right here to my side. I stick the arm out.
And then I feel it, and that's what makes me lift my elbow.
Slides down,
and also stop my momentum.
Triple back. And then we showed how we could do that with our Lindy footwork. So 1, 2, Lindy footwork, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 1, 2, triple catch, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, 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 ba-dum.
And followers, as you're doing your Lindy footwork, it's important to realize that you're still having your momentum going this way. So as you come forward under his arm, and you turn, you're actually still going that way until you feel his hand on your back.
Right.
And then there was one more thing for followers about the turn, is that what we don't want you to do is to turn yourself. And what that looks like is this. See how I backed through the turn? Your arm and your frame are actually going to cause you to turn. So as I'm moving through, I wait until I cannot possibly do any more, or until he helps me, and then I finish the turnout.
And leaders, we let gravity drop this hand, but we have to keep this shoulder back, because if we catch the follower, then we let the shoulder go forward, we're actually going to lead the follower backwards. So keep that shoulder in. And the last stuff we did was just put everything together with music. You have your underarm turn, you have your side pass. So you can do things like, you can start like this. Remember, this is our home position if we get confused with music, right? Then you could start doing, you do send outs, mix up all your things. Basics, side passes.
All while staying connected, followers, you don't necessarily know what's happening next.
Right, and then you can really start mixing those up with Lindy's. You can do a side pass into an underarm Lindy, into a Lindy to close, or however you want to do it. We hope that helps. And we hope
Thanks so much, you guys. We had a lot of fun.